welcome to Coffee with Joy. So excited to have you all here. Happy New Year. We are in 2025. Can you believe it? Yes, you can. Because if you see me and I don't see you, but you see me, you know, we have made it over the barrier of 2025. So again, Happy New Year. This is the year of getting it done. This is the year to bring it to fruition. Well, I am so excited to have my guest Tierra as we talk about being an influencer, being about sneakerhead. Are you a sneakerhead? Are you into sneakers? I thought I was, but until I saw the flight, the whole circumference of sneakers. I probably own several sneakers, but not as much as my guest Tierra. But we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about that. So after these messages, we're going to bring my guest Tierra on.
Workout sets are the bomb. Make sure that you hit the PayPal QR code and so that you can find out more about these Q sets and so much more. Let's get to working out. Yes.
So welcome back to Coffee with Joy. So excited to have my guest Tierra on. Hey Tierra, how are
Hey,
you,
girl.
love?
Good. How are you?
Good. So before we get in, can you tell people a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to jump right into our conversation.
Sure. So, my name is Tierra. On social media, I am the Curvy Girl Chronicles across most platforms except for like TikTok and Facebook. I probably come up as Sweet Lady T. I've been in this influencing game. I started as a blogger, a OG, write it down, take photos blogger. Like 10 years ago already. Time is flying by. I do that by night. By day, I work in insurance, which I know is rare probably to see a Black girl working in insurance, but I work in insurance. And yeah, I recently moved to Dallas kind of on a faith journey and just excited that Joy asked me to be here today.
Yes, I am so excited to have you because again, it's not, it's not, it's I guess for lack of saying, right? So people don't kill me in the comments, don't kill me. You know, when you see women that really love sneakers, right? That really go for it. What made your love for sneakers? How did you come about that? But before we go that, let's go back to what you just said, blogger. Wow. Blogger is like an ancient word. I don't hear
Ancient.
yeah. I don't hear people talk about that, but just like yourself, like I can't believe it's like going on 10 years. Like blogging, just picking up before there was a thing called tripod. It was there, but it was not as prominent as it is now. Because some could bend, some could go forward. But just to hear blogger, wow. So what has changed from you being a blogger then to being an influencer now? What have you seen? What has changed over time with you?
Number one, the amount of social medias you got to keep up with. Back then, in all honesty, I started on Tumblr. Some of y'all might not even know what Tumblr is. So I started on Tumblr and then I moved over, got an actual blog, bought my URL and all of those things. If you really want to go back, I actually started on YouTube many years ago. And I feel like the amount of different social medias, like I didn't have to keep up with TikTok. I didn't At one point we had to keep up with Snapchat, Facebook, YouTube. Like you only had like your avenue to focus on.
Right.
So I feel like that's changed a lot. And just the access to equipment to set up. Like I'm sitting here with a light. I ain't never have no light. I used to be outside taking photos in my backyard to then go inside and write a post about my outfit and try to kind of incorporate my life into the post. So just so many things have changed and I love to see it. I think there's room for everybody. I love that everybody has their own avenue, your own way. You can do videos, you can do posts, photos. So it's a different world we're living in.
Yeah. At this speed.
And
At this speed. Like we're not talking about, it's not even a decade for some people. We're talking about bloggers. Like you stated, there are some equipments that was there, but now it wasn't, it's prominent now. Like you want the best lighting, you want to show up as your best, you want the best tripod. Before then, it was just like, let me put this camera on the car, shoot this picture, like you stated, and write the blog post and be okay.
and
And
be
like really
okay.
disseminate this blog post. But now that's like completely ancient. And
Ancient.
and it's ancient and it's not even that many years ago, right? We really taken the oven to the microwave to the air fryer, and
For
how it
sure.
really has changed so much. Us being in this game is like, okay, we want to change, put our clothes on, but now you got to do the video. Now you got to show the OOTD, outfit of the day. Now I got to show you where I got the socks, where I got the shoes, versus just explaining the outfit. Now I got to be with this affiliate. I got to deal with this crowd. One social media like this, the other social media like this. It's like, yeah. Now it's like really monopolizing my time, and money is just not pouring in that it should be.
No, for sure. Like, I feel like some of us have been in this game for a really long time, right?
Yeah.
I know we came to talk about sneakers, but some of us have been in
But
this
no,
game for
no. I mean, this is all entwined.
we've been in this game for a long time, and the
Yeah.
money might not be pouring in the way y'all see some other people it pouring in, especially like for me. And I think my age group, we didn't hop on TikTok real quick, right? We
Mhm.
were focused on like our curated feeds on Instagram,
Mhm.
maybe still writing a blog post here and there, and then people hopped on TikTok off the jump, and they grew really quickly. So then for me, sometimes I feel like, well, maybe I should have did this, maybe I should have did that. However, I'm personally on a faith journey, so I just keep doing it little by little, faith by faith, and hoping, holding on to it. But it it can get discouraging. But I want like everybody just standing your truth and remember what you do it for.
Yeah.
Like remember your why and why you're doing it. And part of my why is to bring like sneakers to women, introduce them to a different community they might not have known, a different culture that they might have known, a culture that I've known since I was like in middle school. So
Yeah. So how did that erupt for you as you started, like you stated, bringing this world to women, probably who was already there, but just didn't know how to express themselves or even seep a hole into being like, hey, I am a sneakerhead. I really enjoy. I'd rather have sneakers than heels. I'd rather wear sneakers to go to church. How did you start this, and what have you seen change since you started?
So I think for me personally, I kind of categorize it two ways. You have like your sneakerheads who like they OGs in the game. They are going to get all the top kicks. Like they probably got their first pair of Jordans from '95, and then like I started this thing called a sneaker lover. So you
Mm,
love sneakers. You might just be getting into the sneakers. While I'm considering myself a sneakerhead, I want to entice more sneaker lovers because I feel like it can be very a male dominated field,
yeah.
which it shouldn't be because there's tons of amazing women that I follow personally that I know in real life that are amazing creators and that are sneakerheads. So for me personally, I think it started, I got my first pair of Air Force Ones back in middle school, and kind of from there it took off. Like it was something that I fell in love with. I fell in love with it being comfortable. I was more of a tomboy back in middle school as well, so that kind of fit the mold for me. And I grew up in an age where sneakers were a thing. You were standing in line at Foot Locker to get your next Jordan, not sitting on an app trying to win a pair of Jordans. So for me, I would date it back to like middle school. When I was younger, my mom didn't buy me a lot of sneakers. I was always
Mhm.
dressed very nicely, but my mom bought me like a lot of kids and stuff.
Yeah.
I had like kids, I had like a few Converse here and there. I had some Doc Martens, but when I got that first pair of Air Forces, I was like, oh, that's kind of what made me fall in love with it because it was something I could it was a lower costing sneaker at the time. And while my mom got me anything I wanted to, I would never try to break the bank with my mama.
Right.
So like that's kind of where I started it. And I feel like it's grown just kind of how I said we went from waking up or staying overnight in a line at Foot Locker at your local mall to there's an app now that if you want to get the next pair of Jordans that's coming out, girl, you gotta go log on to this app, be right there at 9 a.m., try to get the shoes. They're trying to decide if you're a bot or not. It's just it's a whole different game now. It's a whole different game. And then you have to add the influx of people who like sneakers, which is great. I love that. But
Yeah.
you're now adding like another group of people trying to get it. So just like anything, the sneaker game has definitely changed. Sneaker
Yes.
culture has changed, but you have like your OGs in the game who are trying to kind of keep it true and stride through, all the
So
changes.
so there's two things you said. There was a sneakerhead and sneaker lover. Can you break down the definition along that? Because someone like myself, I'm thinking sneakerhead. I'm thinking, hey, you are a sneaker lover. You got it. But you put it in two categories. Can you break
I
down the two
think
for us?
So for me, I think I made it up in my head, right? So I I started like a brand called Sign the Sneaker Lover. So like you're
Mhm.
signing a letter, so it's called like Sign the Sneaker Lover, right?
Okay.
So for me, a sneaker lover might be somebody who you don't want the latest and greatest shoes. You
Yeah.
can't even tell me what a Grail is. You don't know what the sneaker app is. You know Foot Locker, JD Sports, Hibbett Sports. Like you don't know about the resale market, but you have found a love for the shoe, right? You have found that you love to wear a sneaker. You love putting it with an outfit. You might start to prefer it over a heel. To me, that's a sneaker lover.
Hmm.
A sneakerhead is the people that, like I said, they have the first pair of. Many
Hmm.
people don't know this. A lot of the shoes, they are re-released. They probably have the first release from 95 all the way up until now. Maybe the same shoe came out 5 times and they have every single release. They have a favorite silhouette of shoe. They might have a favorite brand of shoe. Everybody doesn't like Nike. Everybody doesn't like Jordan. It might be
Yeah.
Adidas. They might love New Balances. A sneakerhead is somebody who can tell you the culture. They can point out people who's been influential in the culture. They they kind of eat, live, and breathe it. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Now, do you find yourself to be a sneakerhead or a sneaker lover?
In between, actually. So I know people really probably think I'm a sneakerhead, which I am,
Mhm.
but I've never been. I get impatient with stuff, so I've never always been the person that's like, gotta stand in the line to get the shoe, gotta have this particular shoe. However, I can probably tell you when the shoe came out. I probably can tell you the number of the shoe if it's a Jordan. So like, I find myself teetering in the middle of it.
Mhm.
And for me personally, I think that's a perfect place to be. Like, if people
Mhm.
call me a sneakerhead, I'm gonna say yes, I am. If people call me a sneaker lover, which I don't think it's not a term that I coined, but it's a term that I've used. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like either way it go, you can call me either one, and I'm going to answer to both.
Now, in this sneakerhead, and I mean in the sneaker world, what is your preference of sneakers that you really see yourself collecting more of? Because I know is I don't know her name. I don't follow her, but I follow her because I guess the algorithm kind of understands. Because again, I love sneakers, right? But I'm not like I am a mediocre fan, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Because I love sneakers, but I'm more of a heel person. But I love sneakers. I love the design. I love the structure, but I cannot tell you. Um, I cannot tell you design. I can't give you the whole detail. Only thing I can tell you that is a Nikes, Adidas, and I just couple of years ago I found out the black and white they call them pandas, right?
Yeah.
I am so ancient in that because clearly everyone's like, Joy, that's already there. That's already there. And I just started literally lining up my Converses. And I get my Converses decorated. So they're not in their original state. I don't know if that's like probably hurting someone right now. Because I know a sneakerhead, they want the original. And correct me if I'm wrong, right? They want the original. They wanted to make sure that it looks the way it is. Me, on the other hand, I kind of
So that's true to a sense. Like, you decorating like your Converse, something like that, that's probably not really offending anybody. If
gotcha.
if y'all are offended, y'all can tell me why y'all are offended in the comments. But like, you have some people. So for me personally, I have gravitated, not lately, for most of the time of my collector's career, I've always gravitated towards Nike. And sometimes um I kind of hate that a little bit, only because there's so many, like, New Balances is bringing so many fire designs, Adidas is bringing so many fire designs. So like, I'm going to probably gravitate towards a Nike and probably a Jordan, if anything. I probably have the most Jordans in my collection currently. But and again, so I went through like a little bit of a phase. I don't share this story with many people, where like I had to sell part of my collection like a long time ago just to make ends meet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, having some newer sneakers, a few older pairs of sneakers in my collection. So I'm more of a Jordan girl. I
Mhm.
love a Jordan 1. That's one of my favorite silhouettes. It's the most classic silhouette as well. I also love a Jordan 11. Two of my favorite silhouettes of the Jordans. But when it comes down to like customizing like a legit Jordan or something, I'm probably not gonna customize it. It's gonna be as it is. But I've taken like a white Air Force One, and
Okay.
and customized that before. Like, I went to a painting studio and I did that. It's all kind of how you want. But if you're a collector, you probably not customizing like your tried
Yeah.
and true Grails, which is like your holier than thou. Those are the shoes that you love, that you have to have. You're probably not putting like bedazzling them in any sense of the manner. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. So after these messages, we're going to continue to talk to my guest, Tierra. How does she cultivate a community? What has she seen the growth between men and women in the sneakers world, right? And I hope you all caught what I caught. Sneakerhead versus sneaker lovers. So after these messages, we're going to continue to talk to my guest, Tierra.
Age audience? Have no fear. Advertise your business on our podcast. Connect with us, the Coffee with Joy Talk Show podcast, and let's grow together. Email us, and we surely look forward to hear from you.
Welcome back to Coffee with Joy. So excited to have you all. So make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow Coffee with Joy. So excited to have you all here. And please, if you do have a question, I know for a fact my guest Tierra will definitely reach out. Would love to answer if there is any, because again, we know what sneakerhead and sneaker lover is. And we're going to continue to talk to my guest Tierra. Welcome back, Tierra. Thank you so much for being on Coffee with Joy. Whoop, whoop. How did you cultivate a community? How did you get women, as you taking pictures with them, meeting other women who share the same interests as you, as in early in this segment, we talked about blogging. Now it's moved over to influencing. How has these women influenced you, and how did you cultivate this community of women?
So I will say, keep in mind, like my original community was like plus size girls. Like I'll share this too. While we're here, let's share all the things. So
Yeah.
when I very first started blogging,
Mm-hmm.
I think you can go back to my blog and now I have 3 posts where I have sneakers on because I felt the need to change myself.
Mm.
I felt the need to conform to what the top bloggers at that time were doing. And we're talking your top plus size bloggers at the time. So I felt the need to kind of switch it up. I felt the need to start putting on heels, wearing boots, wearing things that I might wear, but I wasn't 100% staying true to myself because that is true to myself as well. So it wasn't like I became a different person. However, I pulled back on something that I really love and
Yeah.
I kick myself for it now that I'm older so
Yeah.
much because when I did start to reshare my love for sneakers, which happened kind of during the pandemic, we were at home. I was looking at a closet full of shoes that I had bought, and I was like, "You about to start
Yeah.
sharing these shoes?" I
Yeah.
like something kind of clicked in me. Was like it at that point. I was like, I don't care if nobody likes it. I
Yeah.
don't care if what anybody says about it. So I did this thing called 15 Days of Sneakers,
Mm-hmm.
and legit, I have been stuck at like 4,000, 5,000 followers for the longest. I did 15 days of sneakers and I jumped to 8,000 followers. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, excuse me? And like women were like, oh my God, I love to see you wear sneakers. Oh my God, I love how you spelled that. I just saw those sneakers. I would love to wear them. And I was like, is this my community?
Yeah.
Did I find my people? And so like I would throw a few heel outfits in there and they would still do very well, right?
Mm-hmm.
I did another 15 days of sneakers. And that one grew me to almost what I'm at now, which is like 33,000 followers, right?
Mm-hmm.
In that moment was when I was like, if y'all don't take nothing else from what I'm going to say, stay true to who you are through and through 100%. I know that that can be easier said than done. Like for
Yeah.
me, I was staying true to myself, but not 100%.
Yeah.
So just finding my way, finding my community that way, honestly, becoming true to myself, like my tribe came.
Right.
And so you now have women that some women might send me a DM, hey girl, I'm going to a concert. Can you tell me what to wear? They'll send me a pair of shoes. Hey girl, what
Mhm.
you think I can style with these shoes? And I'm not, child, I'm not too big yet. And I hope I never get too big and get the big head that if
Yeah.
you DM me and at least if I see it in a timely manner, I'm probably going to respond to you.
Yeah.
Like I'm just going to do that. So I think that also helps cultivate it, responding to people
Yeah.
sharing me with, their friends, their families. I went to a high school homecoming 2 years ago, and the girl was like, one of my friends, like, oh my God, I gotta show you this girl that I follow on Instagram. And she said, girl, the girl was you.
Yeah.
And she was like, I didn't even know. And like, I went to high school with her. So just staying true to myself, I think becoming back true to myself
Yeah.
and kind of forgetting what other people think. I know it's hard, but it's helped me tremendously grow and find that community, and I'm hoping to continue to find them. So
Yeah, and I think that's tremendous. Only because it's a world, but it's like a quiet world because, like you stated, it's the male dominated, and some women may not come out of the crevices because they feel as though, hey, they don't really want to hear from a woman. But you and many other women, making that mark, really giving a voice to other women because it is it. If I had to take a hypothetical data, yes, I would see there are more heels, and I guess because it come across my algorithm, right? There is more women are wearing, not to say quote unquote prefer, but women are wearing heels, and there is a community of women who love to wear sneakers. There are influencers who really know their wording, who know the whole track of the shoe, who understand the sneaker, right? And I think by you erupting that and really stay, like you stated, staying true to yourself and open that up, really give other women voices to say, wow, and really have someone who they can connect with, who they can talk to. Because I'm not slating anybody, but let's say a celebrity may not get back in a timely manner if they were to ask that question, right? And not to say they have to. So it's not to say it's no good or bad. It's just that, hey, I think I could reach out to Tierra. Let me ask her and really build that bond. It's almost like, when, again, going back to the word blogger, right? It's not to say I'm trying to talk to the CEO. I'm trying to talk to the staff member, because the staff members who put your name in that room for you to get that gift, for you to get that monetization. So it's almost the same way, right? Hey, I'm talking to Tierra to really understand and really get that conversation. Even though I can research, but when you're able to talk to someone who's common like individual, really sets the tone. Now, what has been like your ups and downs in that, showcasing your sneakers, or just really transforming, like you stated, you was still is, but now more your sneaker being a plus size blogger? Because I think, of course, me coming up in the plus size blogger world, right? And then of course pivoting. It's not to say I'm leaving it, people. I am still fluffy, can't you tell?
yeah.
But yeah, but I really enjoy being a talk show host podcast, so that's where now you'll see more of Coffee with Joy on my social media. What has been like your turning point? What has been like your ups and downs as you start to make that turning point, but really enjoying what you're doing fully internally, like you could feel the joy and the love that what you've been doing?
So I think honestly the hardest part has been finding my place in a new community, right?
Mhm.
So being within the plus size community for so long, and I wasn't a body positive blogger. I wasn't like extended size blogger. I've been 16, 18 for most of my time. So
Mhm.
but I had built a community, right? I had built even a circle of bloggers, other influencers that will put my name into the rooms. I
Yeah.
met you through influencing at events. So I kind of I had a brand there, right?
Yeah.
Trying to now find a brand, and being older, like in my 30s, it's hard to it's hard to make genuine connections anywhere. So trying to now find my place and build myself in the sneaker community, which is a community I could have been in all along, but I wasn't. But that has been probably the most difficult part of it. But the women who I have met, they have been amazing women,
Mhm.
like the ones who are behind the scenes doing the work, like actually working for these brands, and who have been doing this for the long haul, who have voices in these big rooms. These women have been super amazing to me. Like I could probably name a list of them. Like I remember I got invited to like Kicks and Brunch. It's a girl named Melissa. She owns Kicks and Fro's. She invited me to her. She had a brunch in Atlanta, and like I was like, this is crazy. Everybody was just so nice and so welcoming. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't always get that in the plus size community. So that wasn't always the case.
Yeah.
So just to get that from them, and just like true people who I probably would meet up with outside the internet, while it's been difficult building that, and I'm still working on building it, the
Yeah.
women I have met have been amazing with welcoming me, and just showing me a good time, to
It's like,
say the least.
yeah. Yeah, and it's really you'd be surprised, right? It's not a lot of people are not trying to go for what you're going for, right? They just want community. They just want to be able just to connect. They want to they want to collaborate. Like I am proud of you. Like you're doing your thing. There is multiple lanes, we can be in that. And whether black or white is just I know society has showed the stigma that, hey, like a crab in a barrel, we're trying to take each other down, like you said, in the plus size world. They just call a spade a spade. Yeah, everyone's trying to get on top. Everyone's trying to utilize who they can get, who to move over. But now Ozempic kind of like a video game, kind of taking everybody out of the game, right?
Taking them out.
Look, I don't mean to segue, but this is my show. Ain't nobody can tell me. But I know that for a fact, and to add to that, a lot of people who plus size still want to be claimed who have lost all this weight, still want to be plus size, right? But again, it's like it's no fighting. So you really have to, like you say, stay true to who you are and really love who you are and really allowing God to really put you in a place where community can accept you and really understand you and knowing that I don't have no tricks or trades to put you in or trying to get over on you. I really want to see you win. I want to see you win.
Yeah.
Here you are. Here's the stacks. Here's XYZ. And you'd be surprised where, wow, I didn't know this exists. Even though it should, right? But
Mhm.
still something in us tell us that, wow, either the algorithm or I'm thinking it and it shows me that women want to take over women or trying to be, but not really. There's a world of people out there who really do want to see you win, and that's why I wanted you on the show because it's just like just to hear how it's easy for men to talk about sneakers, right? Because clearly a men is not wearing heels. So basically that's what they have. But us, we have multiple choices, right? And for women to gravitate to sneakers, to really understand the art behind the sneakers and really enjoy wearing sneakers, that's like, wow, okay. And like I stated earlier, where I don't follow, but the algorithm still showed me her page.
Yeah.
And she has like the sneaker box in the back, her shoes very designed and she matched the shoes with the outfit. It's very alluring. Like low key, I would like to do that. But I know in the end, I just think I want to, and God's like, you really don't. But I just how people create and put everything together. So you go into these events, like what has been now the outcome? What has really sparked you to continue to showcase these sneakers, continue to, influence and be showcasing the sneakers and just being an influencer altogether because now you're in a new city, picking up new friends, or I'm very careful when I say friends, right? But we're just
I
going to say
got you.
friends. We're going to say friends for the lack of terminology.
Yeah.
You picking up new friends, you picking up new people around, really trying to learn this new city that you're in. How has that been?
So it's been interesting to say the least, right? So I actually went to like a sneaker event the first week I got
Mm,
the second week I got here. I got here March 3rd. I went to the event around Air Max Day. So that was like 2 weeks after I got here. So and everybody was very welcoming, right? I will say that moving to a new city, now you're back to having to put your name out there. I get all these emails where it's like, come to this event in Atlanta, come to this here, come to this. And I'm like, I don't live there anymore. So like I'm reestablishing myself.
yeah.
And in the spirit of transparency, I know we about to have to go, but I
Oh,
I
yeah,
had a
yeah,
very I had a very rough mental few years, right?
yeah.
A downward spiral. This year was rough. I moved 12 miles away, 12 hours away
Hmm.
from everything I know, my family, my mom, my friends in Atlanta. I moved to a city where I knew one person and he just happened to be my best friend's cousin.
Hmm.
So like I moved to a brand new city. I was readjusting in the spirit of transparency before I left Atlanta. I was looking for a house. I was living with my mom. So I went to living on my own in an apartment miles away. And that alone was an adjustment for me. So honestly, one of my 2025 goals is to really hop back in it and start to reshare like the things that I love on the internet. Because
Hmm.
for me, I kind of, you say what keeps me going, and lately, like I've been on a faith journey. I
Yeah.
moved to Dallas because I heard God tell me to move to Dallas September 21st of 2022.
Amen.
So, and I remember the date, the time, I remember where I was at in the moment that he told me to move here. So being on this faith journey, I can only keep going.
Right, right.
I can only keep going. I can only keep sharing my testimony. Like I moved here. Was it tough? Absolutely. There was days I had like $2 in my bank account. And
Mhm.
I'm a middle class citizen. I
Yeah.
have a decent job, you know what I'm saying? But it was just like the move and everything. So honestly, relearning my faith and living more in my faith, reading the Bible, praying more, and
Yeah.
just getting back into the Word and applying the Word to my everyday life. It really keeps me going and keeps me moving.
Amen.
God is keeping me here. Like God is keeping me moving. God is keeping me going. And I know, you know, people might think it's cliche or whatever to say, but if I tell you where I was at 2 years ago, please understand that God's keeping me every day and
Amen.
keeping me going here. So.
Yeah, amen. And I know for a fact, just like yourself, I know for a fact that's the denominator. That's the denominator. That's why I would not allow anyone not to tell me God is not real. God is not in this situation. Prayer works. And it's a daily thing. And that's how, even with Coffee with Joy, me doing everything by myself, right? And it's not to brag. It's just that, do I do it or do I sit on the side? No, I keep going because I know God has already brought
Mm-hmm.
the team that I need, right? And when you continue to be in his word, continue to ask him and continue to allow the word to feed you, you find that you're so much further and closer to your destination than when you were. But when you look back at his goodness and how far you came, because again, no one's exempt from problems. No one. Even the ones we create for ourselves, no one's exempt from problems, right? You wake up, you know you went to bed like you stated, $100. You wake up, why are you in the negative? It's like,
Yeah,
you know what, God, I trust you. I trust you. And
absolutely.
when you start to look at that cup half full, like, I got food in the house, I got a shelter, I got transportation. I may be broke, but I got that. Thank you, God. Thank you. Because only you and him knows, right? So that's the reason why I let everybody know, what is the one thing? That's why I always ask, what is the one thing that keeps you going? Because no matter what, as all of us are fighting for a dream to come a reality, the devil is trying to take that. And he does not
Both
want your
sides.
joy. He doesn't want your car. He wants to rob you of your mind, your thoughts, knowing that, and give you the reversal of what God has already stated, right? But again, you have to fight through that, and you really have to feed what you want as you can see your destination coming closer. So I commend you for sharing your testimony, because I'm telling you, so many people, and like myself, hey, we're fighting it, right? And sometimes a little transparency to others, giving somebody else that flight, like, wow, I'm not alone. I am able to continue to fight and continue to fight for it, but don't give up. You may rest, but don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up. That's the number one thing. And I say that out loud to ricochet back to me, right? Don't give up. Just find a plan, strategize. If I could show you, Tierra, the stuff that I have, the stuff that I write, the Bible says in Habakkuk 2:2-3. Like, it is my strong prayer to consistently take the word and use it and continue to put it out, right? Because Thessalonians 5:17 say, pray without ceasing. So it's consistently. I make no bones about it, right? And even when I had this young lady reach out to me, and she stated, like, who does your format, who does your show? And again, I state, not to brag, but I tell, it's just me. And she was that odd and like, oh my goodness, can you help me? I said, I don't have a problem, but again, a closed mouth don't get fed. You have to ask, and that's what I do. I ask God to put me in place where I can grow as a podcaster, as a talk show host. How can I grow? What is it? What does that look like? God, what does that look like for you, for me, that you see? Because here, you still got me here. January will be 3 years. And when I
Come
look
on.
at it, like,
Yes.
whoa. So what does that look like? I'm in conversation consistently. When people say meeting, I'm in prayer. I'm talking to God. Like, I talk to people at the table, because again,
Hello.
I can't talk to my friends like that. I can, but they don't have a solution like God, because God sees this. My friend sees this. I need somebody who sees everything and already have the plan. So again, I commend you. It's a fight, but the reward is here. And the more you tell yourself the reward is here, because I can't even say the end, because as much as we say the end is not until the good Lord decides to call you home. But the reward is now. You have the reward because you could say, wow, I was able to meet people at, Kicks and Brunch. I was able just to hear that someone really appreciate me. I built a community of sneakers, of individual who like sneakers. So when we start to place our mind on those things, it really keeps us going. It really keeps focus what my end goal is, because only you and God knows the vision. You just have to bring that vision to life. It's going to be some ups and downs, but I commend you, because again, it's whew, the
No,
devil's trying, but he
listen.
lost one. He lost one. I'm telling you, he
But
lost.
when I say that, people like they look at like the moving stuff, like everybody's like, "Oh, you making this look so easy." Y'all are only seeing what I'm telling y'all, and I'm pretty real in my
Yeah,
Instagram stories. So
yeah,
I get pretty real. I try to share a lot there, but I'm like that's still only a snippet of it. But like you
yeah,
said, like just y'all stay the course,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
stay the course,
yeah,
keep
yeah,
the faith, and yeah, that's all I'm doing.
yeah,
Every day we just out here winging it. Every day something happens, I'll be like I just it'll be February will be a year that I've been in Dallas, and it's just like to have made it a year away from all my people, like everything, and to still be standing, to be have paid rent for a year, to kept my lights on for a year. It's those blessings you start to look at and be like, it could be worse.
yeah. But again, that's why you got to tell God thank you. You got to tell, despite of, you got to tell him thank, because you're not in the hospital. You're not connected to no cords. You got shelter. It's cold outside and I got heat. I got food. I thank you, God. I thank you, God, to be able to be clothed in my right mind. Some of the stuff that we take for granted. Because keep in mind, I remember my pastor saying that he got a spleen. He don't know what the spleen there, but I don't want the spleen to go. Because again, you don't even think about knee pain until you get it.
Yeah,
So I thank God for bendable knees. I thank God for just be able to think and clothe and be able to be in the sound mind. It's just those things that when you say you don't have nothing to thank God for, I could give you 1,000,001. And if not, I could give you a zillion. Because I'm telling you, the time that I had when I look left and right and knowing that God has brought me through, I thank you, God, because it could have been worse. I could see worse. I could
yeah.
see worse.
Hello.
But you chose not to allow me to meet worse, because I thank you for keeping me here because you saw something. So it's just those small stuff. And when we look back, that's why I tell people I look at my cup half full, because I ain't got time to look at it half empty. I only can control what I can, meaning that
Hmm.
I am a talk show host. 3 years I've been doing this, with or without, hard ups and downs, lack of. I had it. It's no matter what. I did it. I'm doing it, and I'm gonna continue to do it because I know He has a will for me. He has the vision that's gonna come. Oh yeah, but people don't take. They don't look at that. If you look up that cup half full, you'll be surprised how what your tears were added more. Your tears of
Yeah.
just joy of knowing. Because I know in Dallas as well as here in DC, I could just walk and you see homeless people. I could just walk and see homeless people. And I thank God He didn't choose me for that career. I
Hello.
thank God He didn't place me there.
That
So
is
I
on my
take
side.
my little spot and I say, thank you, God. I thank you. I thank you for the warm bed. I thank you for the peace. I thank you for a peace I could come home to and be at peace. Yes, my heart desired to be married, but at the end of the day, God, I thank you for today for peace. I thank you
Hello.
because I could come home. I don't have to sit here and argue with no one. Not to say that's part of it, but I don't have to sit and negotiate. If I want to have tea for dinner, that is it. I don't have to worry about that. But again, it's not to brag or say, hey, but I'm today. Tomorrow worry about itself today. And that's the thanks I could say to God. Thank you.
For
But
sure.
I'm telling you, Tiara, I need people to understand that without Him, there's nothing. If you think you could live without Him, I promise you, I could walk you to a place called a cemetery. I,
Hello.
I could show you. I could show you. I could show you. And there's people who are slowly spiraling down because God is not mocked. And sad to say, many people who curse God at the beginning, then when they find Him, oh, God is not mocked. So I try to make sure God, with a sincere heart, please allow me to do what's right, because
Yeah.
half of Him is not to be played with. And I fear, it's one thing believe in God, but it's one thing to fear God.
Dear God.
I fear him. That's why I said, you know what? Let me do my job. You right, God. You right. She looks
Let
rich.
me
She got it.
let me do like that. And I sorry. So just this is the last thing I'm gonna say, I promise y'all. Just you know, you sharing that, sharing like how your feelings and stuff.
Mhm.
I saw a reel and it was like more people gotta share their testimony.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like enough people are really realizing that some of us have been brought out of the darkest times and we know it's God. We know it's nothing but God. We done been brought through them dark times. I don't care how much money you got in your bank account. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like those true dark times, those depressive dark times, those anxiety filled dark times. I'm talking about those suicidal dark times. Like you start to realize, and like you said, like I used to be a cup half empty girl.
Mm-hmm.
I went through a very long period of cup half empty. I was when I say I was holding on, the mustard seed of faith. It was all I could hold on to.
Yeah.
It was times I couldn't even pray for myself. Right. So just holding on to that and knowing like to share my testimony, starting to share more of my testimony, especially like about this move and things of that nature. Sharing those moments that I know it was nothing but God.
Mm-hmm.
That like those moments when you be like, God, did you just show up? And you realize it's God, and you be like, well, I have nothing but to say, but thank you and keep going.
Yeah.
So just people, two things: share your testimony and stay 100% true to yourself. I don't care if you listen to nothing else I said. Those two things.
But in it though, in that, that's those examples, right? How
Yeah.
you came from being still a plus size, but you learned this is not for me, not knowing that I'm not true to me. Even though you was true to you, but you felt it. Because like I said, God can, and I could tell you anything, but God knows the heart. You see, so
Hmm.
you knew your heart, you just wasn't there. And then God was penetrating you. And sometimes God is just not going to stop. He's not going to stop until he gets you to pivot, turn, do what he says, because he knows what that end looks like. So he's not going to stop no matter what. It may take days, may take years for you to turn, but eventually you're going to turn. He's
Hello.
going to make sure that you turn. So it was a reason. Look, now you have a community of sneakers, of of women who love sneakers, and it's great that you can call on that community. It's still, your plus size community, right?
Yeah, for
Because you
sure.
still can call on. But now that you feel like you're whole, you don't have to walk in this and say, "Oh, I'm not. I don't feel right." But look, it take 4 to 8 thousand, and still,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
just a matter and like, wow, it just did that little piece right there. So Tia, I thank you so much for sharing. This has been
Yes.
awesome. I told you, coffee with joy. We normalize the difficult conversation,
Listen,
all things. I told you.
Coffee
Thank
with Joy done set me out today, y'all. I was a little nervous, but this was quality conversation. You got listen, conversations when you can be yourself, be your authentic true self, talk about all your true feelings and your thoughts. This is great. I love this. Keep going, friend. I
thank you
love it.
so much.
Anything
Thank
I can do to support you, you can call on me.
Oh, blessings, blessings, blessings. Thank you so much, Sierra, for being on Coffee with Joy. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow. As you heard, it is a place where we normalize the difficult conversation, because in the end, no matter what, God will always be in this midst, right? So I just want to make sure that I hope that you all took something away. And if you did, please let us know in the comments. I know Tiara would love to reach out. She would love to answer whether, hey, your testimony, or if you're a sneakerhead or sneaker lover, or both. Please do let us know. If you like to patronize our company, please make sure that you follow the QR codes. Any amount would do. Of course, we would love for you to be part of Coffee with Joy. And if you would love to be a guest, please follow. Of course, you can go to the Coffee with Joy Show at gmail.com or the coffeewithjoyshow.com. And we would love to hear from you, or you can come to our DM. Anyway, we definitely would love to hear your story, because no matter what in life, everything starts with a conversation. Until then, if it's a weekday or a weekend, live life on purpose. Happy New Year. Let's 2025. Let's go strong and finish strong. Long as you're above ground, God has a purpose and a reason for you. Until then, you all have a blessed night. Talk to you all soon.